I'm going to reveal a question that insurance adjusters dread you asking in accident claims. They hate this question because it may result in them paying you more money, which often bothers them. To expose the question that is a nightmare for adjusters, let's dive into David's case. David is a loving husband and father. Like most Americans, he was just trying to get by on a limited income. One day he was driving in South Florida when another car ran a red light and crashed into him. On impact, David felt horrible pain in his knee and lower leg. Paramedics rushed to the scene, gave him narcotics, and took him to the hospital. X-rays of his leg were taken and he got some bad news. David had broke the top of his shin bone right beneath his kneecap. A few hours later, he was released from the hospital and told to follow up with an orthopedic doctor. While David's broken leg was healing, he couldn't put weight on it, so he had to use a wheelchair to get around. David was worried that he drowned in medical bills and wasn't sure if he could get money for pain and suffering, so he hired me as his lawyer. I asked the other driver's car insurance company to tell me how much coverage the other driver had. Florida is one of several states that requires the other driver's insurance company to tell you their insurance limits, but you must make this request in writing. We got some good news. The other driver had plenty of insurance coverage, but this doesn't always happen. In fact, if you're seriously injured, the odds are that the other driver won't have enough insurance coverage to pay for the fair settlement value of your claim. Insurance is really important because it's usually way easier to get money from an insurance company than from someone who doesn't have enough insurance. The other driver's bodily injury liability coverage pays for your medical bills, pain and suffering, and lost wages. If the other driver doesn't have enough insurance to pay you, chances are that you won't get paid fair value for your case. David's orthopedic doctor said that he didn't need surgery now. However, he said that he may need surgery in the future if his knee joint gives out and becomes too loose. I made a personal injury claim with the at-fault driver's insurance company to pay for David's medical bills and pain and suffering. You won't believe what the insurance company told me. That adjuster said she could only offer $5,000 at this time. That was a pathetic offer, but that's what many insurance companies often do. They frequently delay your settlement by offering a fraction of what your case is worth. Most accident victims don't realize that negotiation is a huge part of most personal injury claims. The insurance adjuster is the person who the insurance company assigns to handle your claim. And let me tell you, claim adjusters are some of the sharpest negotiators you will ever encounter. When I first stepped into the world of personal injury claims, I felt pretty confident in my negotiation skills. I'd even won an award for negotiation during law school. But when I started facing off with these adjusters, I quickly realized that they were in a league of their own. It's not that they're more intelligent than you or me. They've simply been at this for a long time, having settled hundreds, if not thousands, of personal injury claims. My early experiences provided me with an in-depth understanding of their tactics, and I've taken those lessons to heart in my 19-year career. They may bank on you being so desperate that you'll jump at their terrible offer. Or sometimes they think that they've got you fooled into believing your case is only worth the peanuts that they're throwing at you. The problem is that many injured accident victims fall into the trap of trusting the insurance adjuster because they've been nice to them throughout the entire claim. And I get it, most insurance adjusters are nice, but many accident victims assume that a nice adjuster will make you a fair settlement offer. This is a mistake. In fact, most accident victims have been conditioned to thinking that insurance companies make fair offers. I say this because that's how insurance company ads portray them. You've likely seen Geico's Caveman ads, or Jake from State Farm, or Sweet Flo from Progressive. Those insurance company ads are funny, so we assume that these insurance companies are fair. But they're often not, especially Progressive. From my experience, Progressive is one of the worst insurance companies when it comes to fairly paying personal injury claims. If you've had a good experience with Progressive, it's likely because you didn't have a personal injury claim with them. Not all insurance companies are as cheap as Progressive at paying personal injury claims. Insurance companies like The Hartford, Nationwide, and USAA are much better than bad insurance companies like Progressive and Allstate. But they're still insurance companies, which means they often fight claims hard. So the question that I'm about to share with you will help with claims against them too. Through intense negotiation, I got the other driver's insurance company to offer around $16,000 to settle David's injury case. But this offer was still completely unfair. So I asked a question that insurance adjusters don't want you to ask. I asked, how much of your offer is for David's future pain and suffering? The adjuster was shocked by my question. You see, most accident victims don't ask this question. Most accident victims are focused on getting paid for their medical bills, and many people want or even expect money for the pain and suffering that they've had. But only a small percentage of accident victims fight for a big payout for the pain and suffering that they'll experience in the future. In David's case, the adjuster said that not much of her offer was for future pain and suffering. That could mean $1 or $100 or perhaps more. Here's a pro tip. When an insurance adjuster makes vague statements like not much, ask them if they can explain what they mean. You never want to be left guessing in your personal injury claim. You're not just fighting for cash, you're fighting for your future and your family. One wrong move and you can lose it all. Insurance companies can get really sneaky playing their cards close to their chest when they've got info they don't want you to know about. I asked David's orthopedic doctor for an estimate on how much a future surgery on his knee would be if he needed one. You've got to get this in writing, and here's why. Insurance companies have what's known as a settlement reserve, which is basically a chunk of money they set aside. It's their best guess of how much money they'll owe you. They can't offer you more than what's in their reserve. So let's say your doctor writes down that you're going to need surgery down the line. If the insurance company sees that, they'll often bump up that reserve, sometimes by a whole lot. This could mean a bigger offer for you. The doctor estimated that if David needed a future surgery, it would cost over $61,000. I sent this estimate to the insurance adjuster, and guess what happened? I heard crickets, nothing. David began to lose hope, but then the adjuster increased their settlement offer to over $85,000. David was thrilled. This increased offer was a major improvement, but this offer was still way too low. They were still playing games. Through intense and aggressive negotiation, I got the insurance company to offer over $100,000 to settle. They made this offer even though the doctor did not say that it was more likely than not that David would need surgery. If you're trying to get paid fairly in your personal injury case, your goal is to get as much information out of the insurance company as you can. If you find out how much they're offering for your future pain and suffering, you can compare it against the amount that you believe is fair. If it's less than you believe is fair, there's something you can do. And if you've ever been on a date, you already know how to do it. I'll explain. 13 years ago, I was single and I saw a photo of this pretty woman. I had two options. One, I could ask her on a date, or two, I could say to myself,
she won't go on a date with me.
Well, I faced my fear and asked her on a date, and today we're happily married with a couple of precious kids. Now, don't worry, you're not going to ask the insurance adjuster to go on a date, but you're going to ask them a question that you may be afraid to ask. You're going to ask, what info can help you boost the offer for future pain and suffering? Sometimes they'll tell you what they need, other times they won't. But if you don't ask, you'll never know. And if you get this information to the insurance company, it may get you a much bigger settlement. It may even save you from having to sue, which could result in a faster payout. You see, if you can't reach a settlement with the insurance company, your only option is to sue. But if you can settle your case without suing, it may also save you thousands of dollars. This is because lawsuits aren't cheap, they're really expensive. Asking the insurance adjuster how much they're paying you for your future pain and suffering is a great start, but it's not enough to have the best shot at a fair settlement offer. There's 9 more questions that you should ask the insurance company in your personal injury claim, and the insurance company doesn't want you to ask these questions. To find out what these questions are, watch the video that's on screen or click the link in the description below. And if you're seriously injured in Florida or on a cruise and you think that someone else may be at fault, click the link in the description below to see if I could be the lawyer for you.